Hi, welcome to another episode of Steve's Dang. It's where we go through the best bloopers in NHL history, and this is one of my favorites. I know it's one of yours too. It might be the most ridiculous combination of what are the odds and karma in NHL history. And what's it from? Just a random regular season game between the Chicago Blackhawks and the Colorado Avalanche. January 26, 2001, the Pepsi Center in Denver, Colorado. Here's what happens first.
It went wide. And Tanguay for the Avalanche. Risky pass in front of his own goal. And now a Hawk player is injured. That's Sullivan.
Somebody's stick came up. The referee is saying that it might have been Probert lifting Tanguay's stick or Probert's stick.
And you can see the drops of blood. I believe he wears a face shield, Peter.
Now here's a look at it right here.
And that was the Avalanche player,
yeah,
Tanguay, as he was trying to clear it. Wow.
Ooh, that's a dang it on its own. Nobody wants that. Steve Sullivan getting a Milan Hajduk stick to the face, and he's bleeding. And this was in the middle of Sullivan's best season of his hockey career. 34 goals, 41 assists, 75 points in 81 games in the 2000-2001 season. Now, this isn't the dang it that I meant to talk about, but why might Leaf fans get mad at that? Listed at 5'9" and 165 pounds on HockeyDB, Steve Sullivan was a little guy in a league that at the time was not built for little guys. There were lots of examples of little guys who did succeed, but at the time teams still went towards, why don't we draft the big guy who can't skate? And then you end up with a guy like me and you lose. But in Sullivan's 5th NHL season, he finally broke out. 20 goals, 20 assists for 40 points in 63 games with the Leafs. That's excellent. The next season, he started with 0 goals and just 1 assist in the first 7 games of the next season, but surely the Leafs would hang on to a guy who just scored 20 goals for them. Oh, Steve, what bad trade are you going to tell us about? All right. The Chicago Blackhawks acquire Steve Sullivan, and the Toronto Maple Leafs acquire nothing because they put him on waivers! It's like they go out of their way to hurt my feelings. Then over the rest of the season with the Chicago Blackhawks, Steve Sullivan put up 22 goals, a new career high, 42 assists, a new career high, 64 career points, a new career high in 73 games, a new career high. And the next season was even better, and well, you can see why I scream a lot. Fast forward to January 26, 2001, he takes the high stick from Milan Hajduk. Well, surely that can't be the dang it. After the high stick, Sullivan's crouched over, he's got the towel on his face, he's just trying to keep it all in there, skates by a fan who starts mocking the cut.
No, check that. He does not have the shield. And Peter, a guy like him, 5'9", he's so low to the ice to begin with. And he's going to get a lot of those kind of
You would think
high
it'd
sticks.
be an automatic for him, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That's brutal. That's awful. And that was 19 years ago. That was in 2001. You know today that guy has a Twitter account with a username with at least 14 numbers in it. What a jerk. What an absolute jerk. Oh, just wait for it though. Oh, and the Blackhawks are losing 3-0 when it happened. They can't convert on the power play they got from Milan Hajduk's high stick. And oh my goodness, Dean McCammon is now in the box. Chicago shorthanded. But look who's out there killing the penalty.
Oh, he was just look out here, short-handed chance, Sullivan in the clear, he scores! Sullivan, a short-handed goal, his 5th of the year, short-handed.
Yeah, looks like Sullivan got stitched up and back. It's a little Jeremy Roenick right here. This move, what a nice move by Sullivan. I mean, he is extremely quick, and right there, just a beautiful individual effort. Nice move, was in perfect position, just a great move by Sullivan.
Daze in front, Forsberg wide open, never shot it. Now Skula gets it, and that's blocked, and another short-handed chance for Sullivan. Short-handed, in alone, he scores! Sullivan again, and it's 3-2.
Kid's got some weapons, you would have thought. He dekes the first time and scores. He's going to deke again. Then he just saw Waugh was maybe coming back and went top shelf with as nice a shot as you're going to see. Well, anybody that was sleeping is awake now in the building. There's the Blackhawks. Johnny, because you got to give them credit in that first period. They got down 3-0 and they didn't quit. They kept it at 3-0, got themselves back in the locker room. And the Avalanche came out and played solid defensively 5-on-5, but a stunning turn.
Steve Sullivan, only a couple minutes after getting cut wide open by a high stick, is out there killing a penalty and thriving, ladies and gentlemen. First, he finally gets Chicago on the board with a short-handed marker, his 20th of the season, unassisted. Just 51 seconds later, on the same penalty kill, Sullivan, again, this time from Eric Daze, scores his 21st of the season, second of the night, second short-handed, and we have a game, folks. Now, I'm sad to report the dang it is not the comeback. Unfortunately, the Chicago Blackhawks dropped this game 5-2 to the Colorado Avalanche. You like that there, producer Drew? He's not here. He's home. And real. But a fun little fact, because I like to be very thorough with these videos. The Chicago Blackhawks goalie that night was a young man named Michel Larocque. Now, I looked up Michel Larocque, and he had a bunch of Vezina trophies, and I'm like, wait a sec, this guy played in the 90s. How don't I know about him? Turns out, long before I was born, there was a goaltender named Michel Larocque, who played for the Montreal Canadiens, amongst other teams, and won several Vezina trophies. You might know him as Michel Bunny Larocque. This night for the Chicago Blackhawks, completely different guy. But there have only ever been 2 players in National Hockey League history named Michel Larocque to play in the league. Both were goalies, and in this game, it was the second Michel Larocque's first NHL start. Just the night before, in a 5-1 loss against Philadelphia, he filled in for Jocelyn Thibault. And Jocelyn Thibault was one of the many pieces involved in the Patrick Waugh trade. The very next night, Michel Larocque is taking on Patrick Waugh. Not a bad start. So how does Patrick Waugh factor into this? Not with a fantastic save, not even with a spinorama in the neutral zone randomly, but rather with an errant clearing attempt.
Patrick Waugh puts it up the boards, and again it was tipped and it goes out of play. So no penalty to Waugh.
Watch the 2 complete.
Oh, I didn't think anything of that. The only thing I thought of is, hey, is that a penalty? Did it touch the glass first? I don't know if it touched the glass first, but it did touch something. Namely, the face of the fan who mocked Sullivan's cut. Look at this. Look at that. How's your schnoz there, bud? But it's okay. Hockey players are very calm, cool, and collected, and Sullivan was super classy about it. Just kidding. Watch this. Look at it. Look at it. Yeah! How do you like it, buddy? How do you like it? Oh, that must have felt amazing. What are the odds? What are the sheer odds that that would happen? Think of the rarity of an NHL player getting cut open by a high stick. It happens pretty often, but it doesn't happen every moment of every game. Then think of the rarity of a fan sitting in the front row making fun of the player and the player actually acknowledges them. Then think of the ridiculous bonkers cartoonishly slim odds that later in that very same game a puck would be fired into the stands and it could have hit any one of 20,000 people that night, but it hits that guy in particular right in the face. Look at this. Look at it. He's getting help. Who is that next to him? Is that his girlfriend? She loves it. She thinks it's hilarious. Thumbs up. Oh, what was that drive home like? You know, you really did deserve it. Whatever. You know I can take him one-on-one. Whose side are you on anyway? Nobody's on your side, buddy. Even all these years later. Not even the goalie on the team that you paid to cheer for. He's the one who dinged you. You sit down with a little pack of ice and a glass of dang it for you. The hockey gods aren't always in your favor. The hockey gods can be so cruel. But on this night, the hockey gods nailed it. This is technically a dang it video, but I'm tempted to make it a hat pick. Even though the Chicago Blackhawks eventually lost that game, justice was served that evening. For the guy who got hit, that was almost 2 decades ago, and he's still gonna get dunked on for years and years to come. But as bad as that must have hurt his nose, I'm sure it's healed by now. At least he didn't lose Steve Sullivan to waivers. Still bitter about it. Still bitter. Switching into a new shirt, we do have to give one quick shout out. Producer Drew tweeted that if you buy a Hearts and Smiles shirt with proceeds going to the Frontline Fund, we'll give you a shout out. So the merchandise, hello! Thank you for getting a shirt. Thank you for helping the Frontline Fund. And if anyone wants to join them, heartsandsmiles.ca to get your own. They come in white and black. They're selling cloth masks as well, and trust me, if it fits my head, it'll fit yours. So, What'd you think of that one? Leave a comment in the comment box down below. That one's definitely one of my favorites. What are the odds? It's ridiculous. There are these great moments and incidences with long stories behind them, but so rarely do they have this concise and beautiful beginning, middle, and end. That is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends not to chirp Steve Sullivan.